So let's say you have someone that says, "Hey, I'm a pastor," but they don't have a flock to speak of. Maybe they pastored in the past. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because there is a trend of what I call the internet pastor trend. That I don't know if you're aware of that trend. I know you stay out of those social media streets, but in those social media streets, there's a trend, a growing trend, and there's even some people with big platforms that would say, "I'm an internet pastor." Can you speak to that? And I know you haven't had much interaction, but the idea of an internet pastor, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I don't know what they are, but they're not a pastor, because a pastor carries certain implications in 1 Timothy chapter 3. Now, let me just say that the word pastor, poimos, is one and the same with the word elder and overseer, or even bishop, bishop or presbyter. All those are a constellation of words that are used interchangeably in the scripture. 1 Peter chapter 5, Peter says, me as your fellow elder, I charge you to exercise oversight, which is the word episkopos, over the flock of God entrusted to you. And he uses the word shepherd there, poimos, which we get our word pastor from. So he uses all the words interchangeably right there. So anyone who calls himself a pastor is essentially claiming the title of an overseer. Well, if that's the case, then you've got to be governed by what 1 Timothy chapter 3 says. And 1 Timothy chapter 3 gives a number of qualifications about someone's life. In fact, the dominant focus is how they conduct their life, meaning that their life has to be observable. Their life has to be something that you can get into. It's not primarily about their doctrine when it comes to selecting these. In fact, the only thing that might approach that in 1 Timothy chapter 3 is the comment that they have to be able to teach well. They have to have the gift of teaching. Apart from that, there are all these other things. They have to be sober-minded, self-controlled, gentle, not violent, not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. Well, how are you going to know any of that stuff if the only interaction you have with them is on a screen? I just don't know how that can happen. A shepherd, a pastor, an overseer leads not just with his words, but by his example. So Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. Or he says to the Thessalonians, you observed my life when I was with you for X number of months. You saw how I worked and how I labored and how I, was in your homes and all these other things. So the work of a pastor is essentially life on life work. I mean, it is character as much as it is content of your teaching. So I don't even understand how someone could be a pastor of a multi-site location, just to kind of broach another subject. I don't even know how someone could be a flat screen pastor of two different churches and claim to be pastoring a group of people on the other side of town through a screen. Because pastoring is so much about being in people's lives. So you might be on the internet and you might be talking about theology and you might be doing all those things, but don't call yourself a pastor, because you're not doing the work of pastoring in that sense. I mean, I don't know what motivates someone to want to claim a title like that if they're looking for legitimacy or some sort of platform. I have no idea what's in their hearts, but in my understanding, I think in the clear teaching really of Scripture, it's an abuse of that. It's a distortion of that title.
Hello everyone, this is Rick Caldwell with Caldwell Apologetics. Thanks for watching this video. By the way, please be sure to click the subscribe button and notification bell in order to be notified when future videos become available.